Hello YouTube, this is Chelsea for STEM APKs. Welcome to another tutorial. In this tutorial we're going to continue where we left off in the last tutorial. As you remember, in the last tutorial we were able to create shapes with the polygon tool that we created, and we were able to create just sections of the image. And I show you all that, and if you have not seen this last tutorial, go back and watch it, because this tutorial will build on what we did in the last tutorial. Because in the last tutorial we only had the polygon tool, but in this tutorial you'll be happy to know that I not only added, let me minimize this, I added other tools to it. And where you can see here, we can open the star analysis, and I created this dialog box, this cool dialog box, and you can choose the shape. For example, I have a rectangle, ellipse, polygon, line, and so on. So basically you make your selection, and then once you make your selection, it creates this little box here, and we're going to explain the code for those. And then right now rectangle is chosen, as you can see there, and you're going to see a rectangle being created and another rectangle being created. And now let's say that I want to do an ellipse. So you're going to see an ellipse being created, another ellipse, and so on. Okay. And of course, polygon, because a polygon can be very handy, especially when you're drawing through different shapes. So it's kind of nice to have that ability to enclose uh, everything about, which is not a rectangle, but just so you get the point. So you get the polygon, and we also have the ability to create lines. And of course, like I showed you in the last tutorial, we can toggle, and you can, let's say that you want to draw around below, you just move the image away, and you can put it back, and you'll see it. This is just serves as a guide for you to know that the drawing is taking place. Okay. So that's what I'm going to be showing you in this tutorial. I'm going to be showing you how to create these cool dialog boxes, and you can also add, minimize them, and do all kinds of stuff. But let's get into the code. Let's close these. That's from the Rust reference. Great asset. If you have any questions, we're gonna talk about one of the things that they have. But before that, let's explain the code. This is the mode dialog box that is created. The initial one is this guy, not this one, but this one. When you first open it, is this box right here. So as you can see, it's got the let's go over it. You bring the use full tick from all the the things that we've been doing from from the beginning, right? So you bring in the full tick, window, button, group, prelude, enums. You've seen it before. Window represents the main application window. The button is the UI buttons for selecting the region of interest shape. The pack is the container that arranges all the child widgets, so in this case buttons in a vertical layout. Prelude imports all the full tick traits for that's going to give behavior to the widgets. Enums are the color, all the colors that we'll be using. And here the RC is basically is just, you've seen this before, is the imports the reference counted pointer. Okay, this enables the share ownership of callbacks. Here is bringing the shape from types, and if you remember, in one of this guy right here, so it's bringing this enum from the types file, and in this case it has polygon, the ellipse, rectangle, and the line. All of the things that we've been using are here in types. We'll continue. Here is the function. Basically, it's the function definition. It declares the show region of interest mode dialog, which creates and displays the region of interest selection uh, and dialog, right? So basically, this is the label, the size, the width and height. So it's this guy right there. We continue. This one is centers the window on the screen by calculating, by dividing by 2. You can center the window, the dialog. Here it sets the window background color is this grayish color that you see there. This is the spacing, 8 pixels, 10 and 10, width and height. Width and height. 180 by 230. And we continue. This one, same thing, the background color to match the same color from the other window. The button height, these are the colors for the buttons. This one right there, as you can see, it's a little bit, it's 120, so it's a little bit lighter. So you get a nice contrast. Um, Here, the styling of the buttons. You've seen this before because we have been doing it, buttons and dialogues for a while now. These are all the styling of the buttons for each one, the spacing and where they are, the unselect callback, and this is the cloning of the window to make sure that the unselect closure works for each one of the shapes. In this case, is for the rectangle, for the ellipse, for the polygon, and for the line. They're all the same. It's just different depending on the shape that you get from types, the vector. This closes the window and it adds to the end, to the pack, and then makes the model true. That while this is open, you cannot do anything until you close this or until you make this selection. In this case, you make this selection, it goes away, but then another one opens. Okay, so that's what we're doing. So let's talk about this one. This is the region of interest tool. We've been using this, we've just been building on top of what we have done already. Like I said before, it brings all of the usual suspects that we've been using from before. So you can see we are bringing from full tick, we're bringing image because it's the RGB image, enums, color, and the event for the mouse events. We're bringing the frame because the frame represents the display area. Draw is used for the custom drawing. Prelude, you've seen that before. Group, the pack for the widget container, uh, for organizing all the widgets. The button is the radio round button that you see here. It's these buttons right here. The other one had regular buttons, and this one is using radio round buttons, which are these ones. And the window, they creates a new floating window. Is this floating window that you see here? We just you've seen it before. This RC enables the share ownership of the UI elements. The image state is basically it tracks the application's current image state from all the crates. We bring the layers. layers. You've seen that before. This is one in the a few tutorials ago. Types, I just mentioned that the region of interest tool, the region of interest shape, and this is from before the past tutorial. This is from the last tutorial and last tutorial. Here, this is for this tutorial. This is the one that I just showed you that does the dialog box. Here is the struct for the shape selector. Basically, it creates a floating toolbar for selecting region of interest shapes. This is where that's happening. This is the implementation of the constructor of that puts this into effect. Basically, it creates a floatable window with a default size of 150 by 200 and the label ROI tools. This is what you see right there. It has the radio buttons for each one, rectangle, the spacing you can see going up, but the height and the width is the same, 80 by 25. And we continue down. This is the helper function that styles all the radio buttons. This is basically, you've seen that one before. The styles, well, here, styles or the radio buttons uh, to dark gray. Is this color right here. The selected color is green. Label text is white. This is the default selection. Here is it's right now is rectangle is when you first open it is rectangle is already chosen. That's what that means here is default selection. This is new. These are the is a macro, and if you never seen macros in Rust, I have these here. You can go here to the Rust reference, rustlang.org, and it gets into detail of how to macros work and what's going on in the background. And they do a pretty good job of explaining how the rules, how they all work. Um, I don't want to get into much of that. You can go there at your own time and you can find out how they work. But basically, that's what I'm using here. I'm using a macro because that way you don't have to rewrite the code over and over again. You just do it once and you just, it, depending on the shape selection and, and the shape change. So that way you only do it once and it just will work with all of the shapes. So that's what's happening here. And like I said, if you want to learn more about macros, this is like don't repeat yourself, domain specific languages, and when do you use them. So they do a pretty good job explaining it, how to do it. These are the callbacks that handle all the, it links each button to a corresponding shape, right? So the radio is the radio, ellipse is ellipse radio, polygon radio button is the polygon, and so on. Okay, this is the group, just like we saw in the last section. And the window closes the window. This is the position of the, by default, it will be when you first open it. I just want to show you what that means. When you first choose it, you're going to see it being pop right here. So you go rectangle. This is what the default is the floating window to the top right corner. So this is where that is happening. And you can position that in anywhere you want. You can just play with the pixels. And here's the window and the shape selection. What shape you selected is going to show the window. It's going to hide the window, and it's going to get the current shape, whatever shape you decided, whether it's an ellipse, whether it's a rectangle or a line. This is the enum for all the ROI properties. Uh, the outline, the color, whether you're going, you can, right now I have it red, but you can do whatever color. You have the line width, I showed you that before. Right now I have it set at 2, but you can change the thickness of the line. Here the scaling, we did that a few tutorials ago. This is where all of that's not new. We did that in the last tutorials. Uh, we've been using those, and now it gets into the mouse events, the push, the drag, and creating the images for the ellipse for each one. Before in the last tutorial we only had polygon, we only had this one. Now as you can see I added the rectangle and the ellipse, and I added the line. So this is when you're dragging your mouse, this is what's happening. It's creating the coordinates for the events. And then it's displaying the image, display to image coordinates, and then image coordinates to display. We covered that in the last tutorial. And here's when you release the mouse, then it creates the shapes again, the endpoints, and then it stores the points. So you're able to carry from this image. This is how this happens here. Because when you choose the rectangle, let's say, right now, you need to store that. And that's what's happening. In order to make that transfer from here, let me open it here. To make that transfer from here to here, you need to store it. And that's what's happening here. And here, for each one of the shapes, the frame handle, state handle, latest measurement, because this is where all of that is happening. And redrawing, drawing the vertex, we saw that before. Draw polygon, that's what was there for the last tutorial, but these are new for each of the new shapes. For the ellipse, and this is because it's a polygon, is basically sharing this function here between the ellipse and the polygon, because these are the only ones that would create points, right? This one's got 4 points, so it's all set. But the polygon, let me just show you. Polygon has different points, just like the ellipse. So they're both sharing this function right here. And that's what's happening. They're drawing the arc for the ellipse, drawing the line, and the ellipse and the polygon. And that's basically it. That's where all the magic is happening. And you're able to create these, oops, wrong one. You're able to create these nice shapes, and you can apply it to whatever application you might be working on. Like I said, I'm going to take these now. I'm going to use them for um, more likely it's going to be particle counting or some type of counting, which is can be very handy, and you can use it in all kinds of applications. But that we'll do in the last tutorial. But this is the end of this tutorial. If you like this tutorial, please click the like box, subscribe to my channel, and I will see you next time with another tutorial. Take care.